Hey, Shalom, Shalom, Shalom. This is Naaman with the Great Millstone Camp here in DC, back for another video. But first and foremost, call all Yahweh, Ba'ashem Yahushai, Ba'ashem Kahakwadash, and of course, double honors go out to the apostles, bishops, and elders of Great Millstone who rule well. We also send out salutations to the fellow Akim that are out there on the highways and byways. Alright. Pushing this truth, aided of course by the many works in the form of videos go out and over the airwaves, and the few Aquath that happen to be watching and learning. Alright, these things are done, alright, for the edification of the hopeful elect of our people, coming back into the fold, alright, back into the commonwealth that is of Israel. Alright. That's what we do it for. Alright. Why? Because these prophecies tell us that time is short. And these Edomites, these self-professed white people, in the spirit, they know this. They see the decline of their empire. Alright. That's global, but in particular we're talking about America here. Alright. The worst of the worst when it comes to the nation of Edom. Alright. To the point where his fellow Edomites can't stand them, and they're showing it. Alright. So here we are. Evidently 100 House Democrats found a spine. I mean, this is good to read, and then again, you know, what you're facing is, in prophecy, is an inevitability. It's going to happen. So none of this in the end is going to work. It says 100 House Democrats vote to cut off Israel aid, showcasing a major divide. Well, let's just get into the video, alright? Because they needed a certain amount in the Senate. So let's just check this out.
The divide between Democrats on Israel has never been more apparent. Yesterday in the House, 103 members backed an amendment from Republican Representative Thomas Massie that would slash $3 billion in aid to Israel. For more, we are joined by News Nation's senior congressional correspondent, Joe Khalil. Hey, Joe, so while Democratic leadership likes to portray a united front, this split shows a party fractured down the middle. What do you think this means moving forward?
You're absolutely right, and it was an almost evenly divided vote for Democrats. You had more than 100 vote for this amendment to cut Israel funding it. You also had about 90, or more than 90 vote against it. I think what this means moving forward is that this is going to continue to be a prescient issue and something that Democrats cannot ignore. In fact, we're starting to see that already. It's been quite a while now, but you have seen these Democratic primaries in districts all over the country where you've got maybe particularly more progressive candidates making funding for Israel a litmus test. And some Democrats, frankly, have lost votes. They've lost endorsements. They've, in one case for sure, even lost their seat, Congressman Goldman in New York, almost entirely because of their stance on supporting Israel. So this is a divide. It is exacerbating more and more. I don't think it's going away anytime soon. And you better believe that in Democratic primaries, it will continue to be a motivating issue for base voters.
Could this end up putting pressure on Democratic leadership if the party was to take power in November?
You know, I think what's going to happen is there may be votes like this. I mean, this was a national security bill with an amendment. And ironically, the amendment was put forward by Republican Thomas Massie. But what you will have moving forward is anytime there is a bill for funding, foreign aid, national security, any dollar that is going to go to Israel for whatever reason, this fight is going to come up again and again. I don't know that it's going to be a daily topic of conversation. I don't know that it's going to, replace people caring more about things like affordability, healthcare, housing. I mean, those are core tenant issues. But what you will have is, again, anytime this comes up for a vote in various forms, and it is guaranteed to come up, this debate is going to happen. And I think the Democratic Party is now reconciling with that.
House Minority Leader Hakeem Jeffries represents a Brooklyn district with a large Orthodox Jewish population. He also has close ties to AIPAC. Does that lead to questions about whether Democrats would coalesce around Jeffries if they take the House, and would they vote for him for Speaker?
You know, I've seen nothing to indicate that Jeffries is at risk of losing his place in leadership, whether he votes for or against an amendment like this. And frankly, his comments and remarks about the current Israeli government and Prime Minister Netanyahu really do mirror where I think most of the party is. Yes, there is a divide on funding for Israel, but I think most Democrats, not all, but most, at least are not happy with the current leadership of the Israeli government. I think, if anything, this is a wake-up call to Netanyahu, his administration, and perhaps others within, the Israeli government. But I don't know that this is going to put Jeffries at risk of losing any authority. I mean, yes, he may have to deal with potentially some headaches on, again, a couple of key votes next year, especially if you have several Democratic Socialist-backed candidates that end up winning and actually, gaining a seat in Congress and the House, which looks very likely at this point.
This is the thing that apparently a large portion of people still don't, well, I'll say just Jake. This, at the end of the day, that's all we're concerned with. You still want to trust in this political apparatus, all right? And it's rotten. It's rotten to the core. It has never actually benefited us, all right? So why? And we know this Jeffries guy is bought and paid for. They've already come out with, I think he's taken like 1.7 mil from AIPAC, at least. All right? So a lot of these people are going to tell you what you want to hear, and then when they get reelected, at the end of the day, these people don't give a fuck about any of us. All right? It's all going to them folks. And a lot of people listen to Netanyahu talking about, well, they're going to try to get away or wean themselves from taking American money. Don't you know he was just and people actually believe that shit. But in the background, what they were actually had planned was to merge. That's what we're talking about here, to merge the militaries. Then it wouldn't matter what, that's the what is it, the Peter Thiel, the billionaire, hit that option that they had on the table. All right, where once you merge, it's going to be virtually impossible to undo that shit. So support and aid automatically goes to them because you're merged as one now. You see what these slick motherfuckers did? So while you're out here listening to what's coming out of their mouth, don't know why you would actually, pay attention to that. But hey, people are caught up in the bullshit. All right, this place is done. So they're going to get desperate to the point where I think that Iran is giving them such hell over there that they didn't expect. All right, they might just resort to using the big guns. I won't say it, but And then that's going to, oh man, Russia and China and everybody else. All right, because now they've got them by the balls. I'm talking about with the Strait of Hormuz. And they got to pay a fee. Don't you know these white nationalists, these supremacists, don't you know them MAGA pieces of shit in the Trump administration? Don't you know they fucking steam coming out of their ears and fire out of their mouth and shit coming out other places, which I won't mention because they are so fucking furious. How dare these, I don't know what they would call them, but treat us, we're white. Oh, I can just see these motherfuckers, because them in Israel in these back rooms, these meetings, talking all kinds of shit. All right, and your politicians that are bought and paid for. This is, at the end of the day, what do you think this is? This is what? Going to cause more division. All right. This is Mark. You know where I'm going. This is 3. It's obvious. All right. And that domino effect, you know. This is Mark. And this is in red letter, so this is the Lord. This is Yahweh Shai. It says, verse 24, and if a kingdom be divided against itself, that kingdom cannot stand. And this place is just, oh man, and if a house be divided against itself, that house cannot stand. All right. So you got these Edomites, they are divided amongst themselves. Another synonym for house would be race, ethnos. All right, and they are divided. All right, because people are saying, you know, especially they didn't care when it was just us, you know, struggling to survive, but now they're on, and they're like, you know, fuck this. Why are you giving money to these assholes overseas? We don't have universal health care, but that's you all's fault. You don't have universal health care because you didn't want Jake, the so-called black people over here, to have it. Because that was a plan from you all's going decades back. All right, because you're actually trying to get rid of us. All right, but on the low. And if a house be divided against itself, that house cannot stand. And if Satan rise up against himself and be divided, he cannot stand but have an end. And oh, don't you have an end. Those Iranians over there who you overlooked and ever so proudly just dismissed, oh, it'd be a cakewalk, and they are handing you your ass. It is a beautiful thing to see. Beautiful. Because the big bad bully, you know, that military arm of that, when we go into Revelation 16, all right, where you got those 3 unclean frogs, and that's represented by the false prophet is the Vatican, and then you have the financial juggernaut that's represented by London, all right, and you have the military arm of it, which is right across the river here from me, and you know, the Pentagon. You got America's that military wing of it, you know, where it tells you in Jeremiah 51, I think it's 23, about, let's get that real quick, because that's what's happening as a result of Iran. I think it's 23, hold on. Let's see, nope, hold on. Let's see. Hold on. Might be 50, I can always get this mixed up. Hold on. Let's go one back. Yeah, it's 50 and 23. Salakia. How is the hammer of the whole earth cut asunder and broken? All right, and this comes as a result of Isaiah 14, where it talks about these nations are asking that question. It says, how are you as weak as we? There's a whole lot more parity now. All right. Yeah. You thought you could just, hey, if you don't do what we tell you, like they were so used to doing, if you don't do this, you know, if you don't accept this carpet full of gifts and we can buy you off, then guess what? We can just carpet bomb the hell out of you. And people will be quick to bow down. But now it ain't like that. And this is exposed, what we're going through now has exposed America to the world. Especially with Taco in office. You know, America now is seen as that paper tiger. Don't get me wrong now, ain't nobody gonna do nothing stupid. But enough of that mystique has been shattered. I said, oh, okay. Okay, yeah. Looking mighty weak over there now. You've been talking all that shit. Yeah. Again, Jeremiah 15:23. How was the hammer of the whole earth cut asunder and broken? How was Babylon become a desolation among the nations? 24. I have laid a snare for thee. Who? This comes from on high. And thou art also taken, O Babylon, and thou wast not aware. Thou art found and also caught, because thou hast striven against the Most High, whose name is Yahweh. And what you have done to the Most High's people, Zechariah 2:8, Obadiah, book of Obadiah, verses 7 and 8. And from 10 on down, it gives you the reasons why this is happening to you, because of what you did against Jacob. This is why you will have no mercy. James 2:13 tells you that, because you showed none. And in the Bible dictionary, it tells you that. It further goes into how Edom, which so-called self-professed white man is, the nation of Edom, that's its biblical nationality. You are the only neighbor of the Israelites that is going to be eradicated from the face of the earth. Extermination. That's why when I'm getting ready to get here, once this disappears, all right, that's why this is such a good thing, so soothing. This is Revelation 13:10. It says, he that leadeth into captivity shall go into captivity. He that killeth with the sword must be killed with the sword. Here is the patience and the faith of the saints. And the only saints are the Israelites, period. Not someone that, the pedophile that's heading the Vatican, or one of the heads, deems as, through their cardinals and all this, as a saint. No, that's bullshit. How dare the heathen? But in their arrogancy, this is what they've done. All right. Again, they've taken our covenant into their mouth, and are making themselves to be as us. So, hey, guess what? You're going to be bound by that. That's Psalms 50, verses 16 and 17. You want to take it into your mouth? Hey, okay. And we're seeing these curses that were put on us being transferred to them. That's Deuteronomy 30:7. All right? And these motherfuckers look pitiful out here, I tell you. And that's why you're going to start seeing a lot more chaos, a lot more of them taking out on us. So that's why I always say at the end of my videos, be very careful where you're at, who you're amongst. All right, that's using that discernment, all right, and remaining circumspect out here, keeping those eyes and ears open. All right, so let's finish this out.
At this point, but I still think the party is very largely united behind him and wanting to see him become Speaker of the House next year.
He's a sellout.
Former House Speaker Nancy Pelosi voted in favor of this amendment despite being a strong supporter of Israel throughout her career. How surprising was that?
These old people about to drop dead.
It wasn't shocking, but I think, again, what this does is there are several Democrats who, like Pelosi, have been supportive of Israel, of funding aid for Israel over the last 2 or 3 decades, frankly, who have now really shifted on this issue. She happens to be the most high-profile name who made that shift, but she's certainly not the only one. So again, I think, if you're a Democrat who is incredibly supportive of Israel, if the question is this an alarm bell about things shifting, I think we're way past that point. I think you've already seen a big shift. Really, that's been happening for the last 2 or 3 years since this war against Hamas in Gaza, where you did have tens of thousands of civilians die. And Democrats now are, debating about whether to use the word genocide. I think this is more so a wake-up call for the Israeli government, perhaps, and those that support it in the U.S., that you have somebody like Nancy Pelosi now saying we should, with her vote, saying we should cut off the $3 billion in foreign aid to Israel.
There's a new poll from AP that shows half of Democrats say that Israel has committed genocide in Gaza. 58% say the U.S. is too supportive of Israel. That's up from just 45% 2 years ago. Is this vote Democrats kind of reckoning with what has become public sentiment inside the party?
Yeah, I think it is. And I think we've been seeing this on the campaign trail with rhetoric. We've been seeing this as people have voted. We've been seeing base voters really make demands, especially of more progressive candidates, that they not take any money from AIPAC, which is obviously a major lobbying arm that supports Israeli.
And see, this is where a lot of people that are not really informed, not paying attention, because you can, these slick talking politicians, they can tell you, we're not supporting AIPAC, and they can do it with their chest all out. But in the meantime, there are other Jewish lobbies. So these are the games that they'll play if you're not up on your shit. All right, and they can just, they can be, we're not taking money from AIPAC, and all the while they know that's what you want to hear. But what about the other lobbies? Let me pull this up. Let's see. Hold on. All right, let's see. You have, all right, the Jewish lobby are individuals and groups predominantly in the Jewish diaspora that advocate for the interest of Jews and Jewish values. The lobby references the involvement and influence of Jews in politics and political process, and includes organized groups such as the American Jewish Committee, the American Israel Public Affairs Committee, that's AIPAC, B'nai B'rith, and the Anti-Defamation League. The term Jewish lobby is often conflated with the term Israel lobby. All right, let's see, comparison with Israel lobby. All right. Commentators argue that Jewish lobby should not be used interchangeably with the term pro-Israel lobby. All right, blah, 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 blah. Instead of going through all this, let me ask the question another way. Whoops. Damn it. Israel lobby in the United States. All right. Now we're getting to it. Zionism. Yeah. The largest American pro-Israel lobbying group is Christians United for Israel. Get a load of that. Which has over 7 million members. The American Israel AIPAC is an influential organization within the lobby. Now, in case you didn't know, this is why Charlie Kirk was so important. All right. until they feared that he was going, because a lot of people started turning on, God dang it. Let's see, structure. Here's why my point. The pro-Israel lobby is composed of formal and informal components. So yeah, while they can say, well, yeah, I'm not taking any money from AIPAC, there's others here. God dang it. This thing is so sensitive. Eagles, Wings, Minister. Okay, structure. All right. Got to really watch where I put my fat fingers here. Let's see. Blah, 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 blah. Formal lobby. All right. Think tanks. Let's see. Here's another one. Christians United for Israel. AIPAC. The Conference of Presidents of Major American Jewish Organizations, which is the main contact between the Jewish community and the executive branch of the U.S. government. Ha ha. Christians United for Israel give every pro-Israel Christian and Christian church the opportunity to stand up and speak up for Israel. Look at this. Wow. Yeah, you stupid Christians. It says in the book, The Restoration of Israel, Christian Zionism and Religion, Literature, and Politics, the sociologist Gerhard Falk describes the evangelical Christian groups that lobby on behalf of Israel as being so numerous that it is not possible to list them all, although many are linked via the National Association of Evangelicals. It is a powerful religious lobby that actively supports Israel in Washington. So there you go. All right, it's really, you've given these fake wannabe Israelites all the power that they ever needed. Now you want to grow a spine. Wow. All right, like I was saying, you know, now you want to grow. It's too late. See, when it was only affecting us, you know, what did you always say? Work harder, get another job, pull yourself up by your bootstraps, etc., etc., etc. Now look at you. Now you want to cry foul because the people that you had your heads up their ass, they've turned on you. All right. And what's more, you're learning that they never gave a damn about you. You were just used, all right, as a means to keep us down. How about that? All right, that's as far as I'm gonna go with this. I mean, points been made. Yeah, this is a beautiful time, and I'm gonna end it by one of my usuals. All right. This is Sirach 25:7. So there we go. Let me get, because I failed to do it at the beginning. This is the copyright disclaimer under Section 107 of the Copyright Act of 1976. Allowance is made for fair use for purposes such as criticism, comment, news reporting, teaching, scholarship, and research. Fair use is a use permitted by copyright statutes that might otherwise be infringing. Non-profit, educational, or personal use tips the balance in favor of fair use. So there we go. And let me get this last scripture. This is Sirach 25:7. There be 9 things which I have judged in my heart to be happy, and the 10th I will utter with my tongue. A man that hath joy of his children, and he that liveth to see the fall of his enemy. What about that? And that's what we're doing now. That's what the time that we're in now. All right. He's done. He is done. His kingdom is done. There's no bouncing back. Despite him trying to tell everybody else that everything's okay. No, it's not. All right, so with that, once again, I hope everybody who views this has been edified. That's what we do here at Great Millstone. We filter everything, especially current events through the scriptures, so you'll know what time you're in. So with that, once again, reminding you to remain circumspect, All right. Hey, be very aware of your surroundings. All right, and those that hey. So with that, until the next video, hey, shalom.